Hello, Internet. I wrote up some list of game ideas, and I would like some feedback on it. Mostly because, I guess, for the most part, I've always just kind of like start working on a game that I specifically want to work on. And these are all games that I've started on, or have thought about, or started with other people. And so, I like them fine. I don't mind working on any of them, but I'm kind of like stuck as far as not knowing what I want to work on next. So I just kind of wrote up little elevator pitches for everything, and I thought that I would get feedback on what seems most appealing to other people. One of my goals is just to publish several games throughout the year, so I was thinking maybe we could spend some time on some visual novels, because you can add some mini games in RenP, and it's in a Pygame, and it's pretty easy to implement a visual novel. So some of these on here are visual novels, not all of them are. But I just thought I would talk about for a little bit, and hopefully get some comments back on YouTube. And then I'll also put the URL in the description, and you can add a comment on the document itself, so please be nice. So the first thing, I just kind of put these in random order, it doesn't really matter. Attack of the Mutant Lawnmowers is just that remake that I was working on for fun, and I can still pretty much just do this alone and do it as just a side thing. But Attack of the Mutant Lawnmowers is just a silly game in the spirit of old monster movies. Aliens possess lawnmowers to attack humans, and then your character has to single-handedly stop them. So the game has kind of like a simple battle system, and you solve puzzles kind of like an adventure game, and just explore the world as you try to get to the aliens to stop their evil plan. So that's one idea. Stray Story is a game that my cousin and I started a few years ago. Maybe in 2014. It's been a while. Human Sob Pobsartner. I think I misspelled something. Should be partner. So it's basically like a dating sim, except you're not trying to date anybody. You're a dog. You're a stray dog. You're the runt of the litter, and you just weren't adopted on the side of the road or whatever, and you must survive. So you have to kind of find food, and I forgot what other resources there are, but I was working on like a fishing minigame before we stopped working on it due to busy lives. But there are mini-games for getting resources, and also every human that you could befriend has their own schedule. So there are like several different locations. Every week you choose one location to go to. You can either get resources at that location, like food or warmth or something like that, or you can find one of these people, talk to them, or interface with them as a dog, and kind of build friendships with these humans until you kind of like pass several different like specific events that really make them like you more. And at the end, if you like get max heart score or something, you can be their partner, you can be their dog. And so it's just kind of like a dating sim, but not a dating sim, and also maybe not as dialogue heavy, considering your main character is a dog. Your dog can think, but I don't know. We were working on that. We only had a couple of characters that we were currently writing stories for, but we had a lot of the kind of infrastructure of the game there. We were just kind of working on stories, and this is just the placeholder artwork, so that it's kind of easier just to see what you're doing and think it out when you have some graphics there. What else? Well, Language Fantasy, that's been out for a while, but I'd like to make changes to it and update it. So currently it's just kind of a collection of minigames based around different topics, categories, and only for like simple vocabulary. So there's this game where you're at a waiter or whatever. Someone comes up to the shop and says, I want a coffee in whatever that target language is, and then you have some choices here to choose. So there's like a cafe or a restaurant for food. There's animal battle, kind of like a JRPG battle for learning animal names. There's a simple coloring book for colors. There's a little dress-up game for clothes. And I would like to expand it. First, by adding something that helps you learn the sounds of the language. So that would either be like the alphabet and sounds or whatever the writing system is, and have some games around that. Expanding the vocabulary games to have more topics such as like family and relationships, locations. I mean, there are tons of topics that you could have mini games about. Because, vocabulary is part of the battle, is just memorizing all the vocabulary and hearing it and being able to pronounce it. And then also, maybe not introducing like formal grammar learning, but simple phrases through mini games like, I want a cupcake, or I like to dance, or stuff like that. Kind of like really simple phrases, and maybe even using prepositions or something like that. But at least getting you to the point where you have a basic skill set of some vocabulary, you have some basic phrases that you can build, and kind of go from there. Like maybe you're speaking at a kid level. Like I'm an 8-year-old. I can speak Esperanto at an 8-year-old level or whatever. Okay. Undead Debt is a game that I kind of just started on, but again, I get busy and I have to put things down. But this was just kind of a satire game, like a stick shooter. You can't see the screenshot very well, and this is all just kind of programmer art, work in progress art. But it is a satire game where you are a messenger in a post-apocalyptic setting. Even in the dystopian future of ruin, school loans must be paid. So you travel through the harsh wilderness, delivering bill statements and student loan payments back to HQ. As you earn money through this job, upgrade your equipment and pay off your own student loans. So that was just something I had started working on, and I was building like a procedurally generated map. And then you just go between, like you'd say, well, I have a delivery for this city, go there, deliver it, go back to HQ to return the payment. But then there'd also be like obstacles like zombies and whatever else in the world. So it's not super fleshed out. That's just kind of the general idea. And then you'd have some upgrades and stuff. It could be a simple game or it could be more complex. Just depends on how much time is spent on it. These are some games that I haven't even prototyped. They're just general ideas. Morse code piano, so learning different Morse code tones from some sort of musical rhythm game. So, for example, A is da-da and B is da-da-da-da. So then it would be like a song that's all, maybe it's like you're playing different notes, like E, D, C, and whatever, but it's the same da-da type of beat or rhythm or something. So just songs based around, da-da, 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 and so on. And so as a rhythm game, maybe you just have like, what is it? Is it Beat Mania or something that has like the little piano bars and you have stuff scrolling and whatever. So that's a game I've thought about. Like I've been wanting to learn Morse code, and I have a ham radio license. I just have never gotten around to it. And yeah. Ace Pilot, that's just another kind of satirical game built on a pun. But I was thinking maybe it could be like a visual novel or plus a shmup, like Gradius, like a space shoot-em-up. And you're basically an ace pilot. You're a really great pilot. You fight for Earth as you and your team fights off the alien scourge attacking. Between missions, your feats are celebrated with parties. You're the star, and you get a lot of attention, but there's one problem. You're asexual, and all the propositioning for sex isn't comfortable. Deal with your issues relating to your sexual orientation in the visual novel elements while fighting space aliens in the shmup segments. So, I've seen, is it Sigma Star? Has like shmup elements and then some other type of elements in the game. Or Guardian Legend is a game I really like for the NES that has shmup but also top-down gameplay. So just kind of mixing those two things, and I'm asexual, so I was like, what can I make about asexuality, and just kind of make something silly. Like you're at parties, maybe the character is like me and you're like kind of socially awkward and you don't do parties very well, but you're expected to go there because you're the big war hero in the space alien war. And you have to like kind of, instead of trying to flirt with people, you're trying to avoid being flirted with, and that sort of thing. Another one, Carrie A Nation. This is close to me because I'm in Kansas, and so Kansas history, I guess. But you play as Carrie Nation, a person during Prohibition. She used to take her axe, and perform hatchetations on bars around Kansas. So I just thought it'd be kind of like a silly action game where you're just going around to bars in Kansas and smashing them up. And I don't really have like a gameplay mechanic in mind besides just lots of damage and mayhem. Komlang Builder, this was suggested by one of our teammates. Something basically where it helps you build a language just for fun or whatever. Maybe implemented as a web app where it'd have tools for you to build a dictionary and build some sort of lessons, and maybe some other little tools to like build comic books in your language, or I don't know. It's not really fleshed out, but it's just kind of like a utility that helps you create languages. And there might already be stuff out there. I haven't done research into that. A visual novel for language learning, also something that hasn't been very fleshed out, but I was thinking just kind of a slice of life visual novel where you and your family have moved to a foreign country, so it's kind of simulating that immersion aspect. And so whatever the target language you're trying to learn is, that's the language of the country. And then you have like a sibling, or I don't know, your Navi type of Navi, whatever that Zelda fairy is, that kind of comes along with you and helps you as you're learning. So maybe your sibling speaks in your native language, whatever your helper language is, and then you're going around and everyone is speaking the target language, but your sibling kind of helps you solve that out. And so it's less story driven. There could be story, I haven't fleshed it out, but you're just doing stuff like going to school or shopping for groceries, and stuff happens and you don't understand what's happening, so you're just kind of like learning from doing. And finally, this is a game that did Rebecca and I work on this for Rose, or did Rose and I work on this for Rebecca? I don't remember. Maybe Rebecca and I worked on it for Rose, but it was just like a visual novel parody where you date inanimate objects. So you'd have like other human friends in the world, but then you'd have chance encounters with inanimate objects, and they'd flirt with you, or you'd flirt with them, or something else. So that was just a random idea. I just threw that there to take up this extra space on the bottom of the page. So, yeah, that's my elevator pitches. If any of those seem interesting to you, or if you have any critiques or comments, let me know. Post in the YouTube video, or go to the link in the description and post on this document, and, that'll help me figure out kind of where we're going next, because school starts in 2 weeks, which means I'm going to be teaching full-time and being a college student part-time. So I'd like to get stuff kind of planned and moving and some momentum going before that happens, because like things always kind of just drag to a halt when like a full-time job starts up, and like gotta do it like at least 20 minutes every day. 20 minutes every day is better than nothing for weeks. So yeah, let me know what you think, or if you have any talents that you'd like to volunteer. We do pay based on how much work is put on, but we don't, like, Moosader's not making enough to be paying people, like, hiring them as a actual employee and giving them a salary. But there is money. It just depends on what all's done and how things do. So, yep. Thanks for watching.